Hello and welcome. This is Alchemist X, and this is the weekly update for October 28th. So, happy Halloween, first of all, and second of all, happy week before the anniversary, which is going to officially start on the 3rd. So, this week we've got kind of the main Halloween event, which involves a class change for Blanchette and for Ramses. And in Ramses' case, he also gets a free memento to go along with it. And then there's also 2 new limited mementos for Julia and for Blanchette that are all Halloween themed. So altogether, it is a pretty good week because there's 2 free characters and you can get them both upgraded. One of the mementos and by extension VCRs is free. So if you're relatively new, being able to get Ramses all going, even if it's just at level 75, it can make a big difference towards clearing the hurdles you have to initially get through as you work your way towards enlightenment. So yeah, that's all I've got to say for that, other than so far I definitely think Ramses is pretty good. Blanchette will have to wait until I farm a bit more of her shards, and we'll talk more about that in the content section. Speaking of, let's go ahead and move on to that. Okay, so first thing, let's talk about how to get Ramses and Blanchette if you don't currently have them. Ramses is going to be available via challenge board. You can get both him and 150 shards just by playing the current event quest. So that one is super easy. Now for Blanchette, she's always been a free unit, and I didn't see it on the rerun list. However, that's not a problem at all because her event is located in the event archives. So much like any other Job Plus event that you might be missing, you can find it here, and then unlock it. You can do that for free once a day, and then just farm out her soul shards from the different quests. I myself have to do that as well, because I had enough to get her at 85, but I totally forgot about enlightening her. And then as far as quests go, the main event is the Sunlit Halloween, and that is the type that drops tokens, and that is where you're going to find the pieces for Ramses. So you just buy the tokens, buy the equipment, etc. Farming like the hardest level of EX just via auto repeat is the most efficient way to take care of that. You can do it pretty quickly. And then in the case of Blanchette, it's drops from the EX. So you can do both of them at the same time, which is nice and handy, and it's not time gated either, which is also nice. And then in addition, there's a couple of small things, like the anniversary quest still going, new character every day, and then there's also a once a day enhancement thing. And even if you're not quite at the point of managing truth seals yet, if you're able to collect these materials as much as you can never have too many crafted mallets. Definitely one of the most valuable items that exists, because getting that extra damage mod out of characters, or getting extra healing or extra damage type resistance, it can help a lot. Be the difference between life and death. So other than that, there's the elemental hard quests every day. And even if you're a veteran, you might be able to get some good gear pieces for things to stock up, like the Legion God necklace. But for the most part, it's way more helpful to new players than for older players. So yeah, I'm not going to go into the shop. There is an anniversary shop, but I don't think there's anything in there that's that great. Just kind of enlightenment stuff. So not as good as the past couple of ones. So yeah, that is all I've got for content. So now let's take a look at the banners. Okay, so let's look at some banners. First up, I'm just going to say that I think this is a very easy skip week for most people, unless you're going after the Ninja Trio, because that banner is still around for the duration of this week. Other than that, I just think that a lot of these banners are designed to be bait right before the anniversary. First of which is this 3-step paid summon. I just think it's too expensive. It's not like objectively terrible, but just costs too much money / gems. Then we've got 2 banners that kind of look like they're paid summons, but they're not. But they're kind of structurally more similar. So for this one, you get 5 5-star units, and they're guaranteed to be 5 stars. Not guaranteed to be limited, or like there isn't any guarantee that way. If you're newer, like it might be worth throwing a step at this if you've got a lot of gems. But I'd say in general, if you're like around the close to or a little above the 30,000 gem mark, if you're like saving, I'd just keep saving, because if there's a gem return banner, you definitely want to have at least 30k gems. I guess you could have a little bit less than that if you factor in the whatever, like 30k minus the sum of the minimum rewards of the first couple of steps. But that's okay. We don't have to get into that right now. The one below that is the same thing basically, except that it's only 3 instead of 5, but you're guaranteed 3 5-star mementos. And just as a reminder, it's all like normal pool or limited pre-October. So if there's something you really want that's recent, you're not going to be able to get it. Like you can't get the Ninja Trio mementos from this. So yeah, just both of these banners, they're good. Like especially just in a vacuum. My only issue with them is that it's right before the anniversary. So if you did these 10 times, you could spend like 25,000 gems on each. And I think most people will be better off saving, because I'm sure that the anniversary will have some stuff that's going to be hard to pass up. The final grand summon is a one for mementos, and this one's pretty good. Like, at least there's no normal pool mementos diluting this pool. I would say that the closest thing to a dud here would be Mayfang's, just because she's kind of an older unit. I think she could use some upgrades. She's not horrible, but compared to, like, say, Morrigan or Cheryl or Rosa even. But it's not terrible, but in general, same philosophy as before, where I just think people are going to be mostly better off saving, unless you just got to have yourself some Halloween mementos. Next, we've got a rerunning banner for Julia. So as much as I love Julia and Dark Julia, I don't like this banner format. It's like, it was almost there. If they each had their own banner where you could guarantee 25 shards per lap, it would be a different situation. But because if you are gunning for one of them, you really can't control what you're going to get. So it's hard, because Julia can be purchased in the Louise shop if she's like, quote, in season. But Dark Julia doesn't. So that one's just kind of hard. So unless you're like the biggest Dark Julia fan in the world, otherwise it's going to be an easy skip. You'd be better off just trying to get her on like Genesis coin banners or just other more random things where all 5 stars are included, because in all honesty, the chances would be just as high there. Next, we've got a banner for global units, and this one's not terrible. You can get a lot of shards. Like if you're looking to like fully enlighten your Asuka, something like that, could be all right, but it is still a lot of gems. So I can't give it my full recommendation, even if it's not terrible. Then we've got one that's an easy skip. Just everything is normal pool. Like, it might be cheap, but in the long run, you'll get plenty of shards of all these units without having to spend any gems. So next up, we've got the 9-step for the Halloween mementos, and it's pretty good pool overall. I would not call either of the Halloween ones mandatory. Like, I guess if you really want your Julia or your Blanchette to be super good, but I just don't think that having it versus not having it's going to make a huge difference. Like Julia, I really like her, but it's harder to slot her into a team unless it's for a raid for the water res down. And then Blanchette, I'm not sure about, but overall, I'd say unless you basically already knew that you wanted this memento going in, it's hard for me to recommend it. And then doubly so for the next one, which is the ones for Julia. Like, again, like, it's not a bad banner, but it's just, I don't think that there's a lot of people that really need to spend that many gems for those particular units given their current power level at this particular time, doubly so because we're right about to the anniversary. I'm sorry if I just keep repeating myself endlessly, being like, hey, hold your gems close to your chest because it's almost anniversary, but I really, really want to hammer that message home. So that is it for the banner review. Now, what I'm going to do next is, I already did some of the steps last week, but I'm going to finish the last 3 steps of the Ninja Trio banner, because I decided that I want to get them, and I figured I had just enough gems that I could still get Nimble when he comes out and get his memento. So let's go ahead and see how that goes. Alright, it's time for a little bit of summoning. So the reason that I did 6 of the steps last week and then I'm finishing the final 3 this week is because of how the gem spent bonus works. So last week I got it up to the 12k, And then this week getting up to the 6K, because if I'd done all 9 at once, I would have fallen short of the 24 because of the discount tickets. So it cost the same amount of gems as if I just waited to do all of them. But I kind of like getting the a little bit extra bonus gems as a result. And it's not a huge increase in like discount, but it's good enough for me. Especially since I am cutting it a little bit close as far as like the amount that I didn't want to get below, because I wanted to always make sure that I've got enough to do the full laps of Nimmel's banner and then also the full 9-step. Should not be an issue for when that comes out, but it definitely is. It's cutting a little bit close, but I was definitely anticipating these units, Ugachi in particular. I like the Bud style, low health, counter viciously kind of deal. Oh, there we go. And here is a Celis. So now, because I got Tenosuke last week on step 1, this is like what you would call the second best case scenario, assuming that I don't pull Ugachi in the next few steps. Because the best case scenario would be getting like all of the ones that you want before getting to the final step. And then the second best case would be you get all of them except one, and then the selector's the final one. Kind of like that's what happened to me when I pulled for Soul's second memento and just happened to get lucky and got Narrow and Eins as well. And yeah, that is always nice when that happens. Even though, like, I wouldn't have been too sad not having Celis, but I like having more options than less options, especially as a Thunder Slash unit. She might have pretty good synergy with Inaku. So like having 2 strong Thunder Slashers, I definitely like that idea. And we've got AC, but that is just going to be Vision Coins. It's definitely funny how many duplicates I got of both Mocha and Don Terrace, though. Like, Mocha's went beyond max limit break, and then Don Terrace, he's like 1 away from it. He's my case study for how long it takes to just raise a unit just using their shards, because he was never someone I was very attached to, and I would need to not have like tons of fire units in order to have used fire shards on him. So I figured, all right, I'll just use him to track how long the process takes. And he's a memento unit, so that means like I got 150 approximately shards of him for free. So he's he's past enlightenment now for me because I farm his quest every day, but it's still like really slow going, like kind of painfully so. But I just like to do that to get an idea of how long that takes, because the answer is way, way too long. And that's why using elemental shards wisely is so very important. All right, so this is going to be the final step. And of course, at this point, it doesn't really matter whether that red is Ugachi or not, because if it's him, then just get a duplicate from the list. And if it's not him, then get him via the selector. So as far as like gem cost, it's sort of a moot point by now, but what is it going to be? And it's Mocha, of course. Yeah, just I pulled that one way too many times. But that's okay, because now I'm just going to go ahead and use that selector and get myself an Ugachi. So yeah, that is it for a weekly update this week. Hopefully, if you are summoning on anything, I wish you good luck. And if not, I will see you on the beginning of the anniversary celebration.